Hi, my name is Veronica Ingasilak and I am your artist for today. First and foremost, I am a painter and I use gouache as my main medium. I also have dabbled within acrylic and watercolor paintings. I first started out as a sketch artist when I was younger, back when I was on elementary, when I first started to learn the craft of drawing. I have made the venture of learning extensive anatomy, first of human anatomy mostly, before I transitioned into ink art. After learning the basics of human anatomy, I shifted my focus to first watercolor, and then when I decided I was good enough, I transitioned into gouache. So gouache was a very big part of my art career, and it still is until now. As an architecture student, I mainly use gouache whenever our professors let us have free reign on what medium we would use when creating our plates. Gouache was a monumental change in my art career. It made me become who I am now as an artist. As you can see, if you can see in the back here, I have a painting on my wall, which I did when I was bored out of my mind. It was done in gouache, as you can see. Gouache made me do things that I wasn't able to do with watercolor, ink, or graphite pencils. It made me break walls in which I wasn't able to get past through when I was younger. It made me improve so much as an artist and created new paths for me, especially a very special mention to the art organization in which I joined, which is called VASIB, or Visual Artists in Sibunga, which I am from. With their help, especially to Sir Bernardo Hermoso, I was able to utilize my skills as an artist and cultivate a much more disciplined approach within art. I was able to think more critically, but at the same time more creatively. I was able to use my skills much better, and especially here in my chosen course, which is architecture. All the teachings, all the studies I've done when I was younger, and the studies I learned along the way when joining VASIB were all very applicable within my course. When creating my plates, they were very helpful. So I am now answering the methods and techniques that we employ in our artwork. So as a gouache artist, it doesn't really take much as long as you have like a good base on how the product actually works. So gouache is like with the consistency of acrylic, but the abilities of watercolor. So let me explain this for a bit. Gouache hardens like acrylic, but at the same time, it actually reactivates similar to watercolor. So once you put on gouache on a certain surface, it hardens like an acrylic, but if you dab water on it again, it reactivates like watercolor. So there's nothing really restricting about the medium. It's the best of both worlds. It's honestly a very nice I guess you can call it like a starter pack to like beginner painters if they want to learn. And yeah, it really depends on how you analyze how the medium performs, how it works. It takes a lot of trial and errors and a lot of understanding along the way. The techniques mostly I employ would be hatching. I really enjoy hatching, cross hatching, blockings. I like to do sketches first before I paint. There's a lot of dry brushes, a lot of watercolor techniques applied, dry on dry, wet on wet, a lot of that, which I've learned using both watercolor and learning sketching first. My art style and my artwork greatly depends a lot on the knowledge I've learned throughout the years of being an artist, and basically it boils down to what you've learned from the very beginning Because once you learn that and you apply that to something, you'll never be able to forget it. You might not do it as it used to be. You might add something up to it, change it up, but it still was as important as it was when you first learned it. So I am now answering the benefits and opportunities that we enjoy. So the most beneficial thing of being an artist is that we are able to create things, paint things, draw things. There is actually no limit when it comes to being an artist. You could paint this, draw that, sculpt this, mold that, and also with opportunities, it's a lot actually. With the modern age today, art gets much more appreciation and much more exposure as compared to back then. With the modern technologies today, they're given a chance to share their art all over the world, with different kinds of people that will love your art. The personal benefits that I was able to experience as an artist really showed when I entered into the world of architecture. As a first year student, we were required to do manual plates, and yeah, it's been really helpful for me when for example, my visual techniques course, we were required to do monochrome plates like hatching, cross hatching, value changes, the nine value, the tonal values, all the knowledge that I was able to attain when practicing art at a younger age were very applicable even until now. And from the very basics, everything was very useful. From drawing even the simplest things, I was able to overcomplicate some things and oversimplify others, and it was very helpful for me as an architecture student. So I am now answering the questions, the challenges concerning their work or craft. So for me, the personal challenges that I encountered when working with my main medium, which is gouache, is mainly the quality. At first, it's very vibrant, but as later on, as it dries and as time passes by, the saturation completely wears off after a long while. And I combated that with laminating. Actually, the main paintings I do with gouache are bookmarks. Actually, I create my personal bookmarks for my books here. I like to read books a lot, and with that, I combined that with my art skills. So I created bookmarks, and again with the laminating, it helps keep my paintings very vibrant as it was painted on the day. It preserves them in a plastic film, and it strengthens the canvas. Actually, it keeps the vibrancy of the painting. And I guess other challenges, a universal challenge for artists would be mainly the costs of art materials. Well, if art materials weren't as expensive as they were, I guess a portion of art wouldn't be as valuable as it is. But still, the very idea of buying like a small pint of paint costing for 50 pesos, or this, for example, actually this micron pen actually costs up to 100 pesos, and very astonishing for me that small things actually very expensive, and the quality and pricing speaks for itself. But still, there's a lingering problem there, especially for new budding artists. They'll actually get turned off with the aspect of even practicing art because of how expensive this hobby can be. For example, I was actually very interested in clay sculpting. I was greatly turned off by the practice because of because of the pricing of the clays, the pricing, the tools. But it wasn't like I didn't try. I did, but it was a very hard thing for me to accept that I couldn't openly, freely pursue this hobby of art because of how expensive it is for me. So that is one of the very big challenges an artists have to either overcome or just deal with. Suggestions as to how we could help artists and artisans. So what would greatly help us in our journey as an artist would be exposure, mainly. Yeah, even to all artists, exposure would be a very important aspect in our career. It helps us create more opportunities for ourselves and bring our artwork into the center stage of the world, having people appreciate it as much as we do, having people see what we see in within the world. And that's the very most helpful thing others could give to an artist, which is exposure. And yeah, that seems to be all. Thank you, and bye.